Good morning. This morning we're going to be going through how to use the SouthData website. We'll be going through the function of the site and through each tab. On becoming a client to SouthData, you'll be provided a login credential, which would be a username and a password. All you're going to do is go to the southdata.com website, click in the login, put your credentials in, and this should be the first screen that you see. On your initial sign-in and each year after as a client with SouthData, you will be required to sign and return a USPS processing acknowledgement form. This form simply gives us the authorization to mail items on your behalf through the United States Postal Service. So all you'll do is you're going to click here to electronically sign your PAF. Copy your name down into the signature line, sign here, acknowledge this information for the USPS. Going to go to the next form, same sort of concept, just going to put your name in, acknowledge this form for the USPS. This form is actually for local processing. The postal standardization machines that we use in SouthData for inserting mail and sorting by postcard is called a maloker. So this is, you're just authorizing us to use this for your mailings. Okay, once you submit that, you can download a copy of that to for the form to your desktop for you to review later. After you've done that, you're just going to hit finish. Then you're ready to order. For this instruction, we're going to be doing the order mailings and letters. It's a little cumbersome to go through the site full blast to do the whole thing. So what we'll do is we'll set it down in increments. So this one will actually be for mailings, letters, and ballots. So from the order center, you'll see we do have the option for order mailings and letters and order ballots. Primary difference in between these two functions is with the ballot button, you do have the option to pick our ballot packages, which include the additional envelopes that you would need for secret ballot voting. So we're going to start in mailings and letters. We have three options for mailings and letters. You have to upload your PDF with addresses. This should be used for any mail merge document that you have. Any document that has homeowner specific information as far as name, address, account number. We have upload your data and letters. This is for a general mailing, which you upload a data file to SouthData and we attach that letter to anyone in the file. Or the enter your addresses and upload a PDF letter. This would be if you just have one quick letter that you need to send out to someone because you are manually entering all of the information on this section. So we'll start first with your upload your PDF with addresses. It's going to basically be a follow the prompt situation. Order data files, this is where you're going to select your PDF. Please note this section, all document inserts must have a clear 3/4 inch margin on the left-hand side of each page. We do use an automated system that has collation. So we use a QR code on the left-hand side of each document for the machine to count and use that for inserting purposes. So if you do not maintain a 3/4 inch margin, the QR code will print over your text on the letter. So keep that in mind. So you go over here and pick a test file. Okay, okay, my PDF. All right, once it has picked up your PDF, it's going to show you the name of the file here. It's going to give you this option to crop PDF addresses. So the way this works with the PDF, because we're printing what you're uploading, we have a box that's movable around the document. With the box, we're asking you to put that over the section where your names and addresses should be. Now, what the box does is each time each file, it will go through and it will look in this square to see if it can capture an address, and if so, it will address it. If there's nothing there, it assumes it's a second page. So we always tell people keep the box big enough so that if you have a homeowner that has two names, or say if you had a care of an RE line here, you always want to keep the box big enough so that if you do have another line in your address, it will pick it up. If you draw it too tight, then it's going to drop off part of the information, which may cause a failed mailing. You can also, if you have large files, you can click here. And what that does is it tells the system, okay, I know that in this file, everyone in this only has one page. So instead of it trying to distinguish page 1 and page 2, it knows that each page should be its own separate address and entity so that it's not looking. It does speed up the process on larger files. Okay, so once you've got your box drawn and your page per count, if relevant, checked, you got to go down here and hit verify addresses. Okay, so once it does that, the system's going to tell you that in this particular file, we have picked up 2 recipients on 1 page each. So it does give you the name and the addresses that we pulled out of the file. It does give you the option if you want to view and edit the pages. You can see that there. And if you wanted to change the address, you can do that here as well. So say if you knew that William Saunders no longer was at 201 Technology, that he had moved, you can actually go in here into the edit option, change the address here. It won't change it on your PDF, but since we do provide a cover sheet, mailing sheet with the addresses that we pull off, it will change it on that mailing sheet so that it will mail to the right address. It just doesn't make any changes to your actual PDF. Okay, from here you also have print options. So if you wanted it to be a duplex letter, if you want it to have, so front and back and duplex, those are your options for this one. With the PDF upload, if you upload the letter with color on the letter, then it is going to print that in color. If it's uploaded as black ink, it's going to print it as black. It will not grayscale out any color. And that's just because with the PDF option, we are literally uploading what you have sent to us. All we do is we print it and put a mailing sheet with it and send it out the door. To go any farther, you will have to assign an association. The association is how you will know when we build back from SouthData exactly what this order was for. So for this one, we're going to pick Fraser Circle. We're going to update all records. Now, if William and Peggy lived in different associations, you could do that there. So say, we're going to say William lives in Heather Glen. So we're going to update his record to say Heather Glen and Fraser Circle. Okay, now you do have the option with this if you want to export the recipient list for later. So if you want to keep like an order number with the number of people you send a letter to, you can export this list that we pull from your data. It will export into a Excel file that you can keep. All right, so your next step would be to add letters. This is a very important comment. The only reason you would do add letters is if you wanted to add a generic letter that would go out with this homeowner specific letter. We do have had in the past people will re-upload their PDF and attach it as a letter. That is not necessary. Once we have captured it on the first page and you've added your association, that is letter 1 in your file. If there are other letters to be sent, if you had something that was generic, not specific to a homeowner, say if it was a lockbox letter or community yard sale or something of that nature, then you can attach it to the PDF. But do not attach your PDF file that you've just used on the first page. And the reason why I say that is if you upload it, your PDF file again here, then William and Peggy would get each other's letter attached to their own. So for your homeowner's privacy, please make sure that in this option, if you're uploading a letter, that you realize that it is a specific generic letter that can go to any homeowner and not homeowner specific. All right, since there's no letters to add, you're going to manage your association. And this is just where we're asking you to verify the addresses for Fraser Circle and Heather Glen condo. So that way you've got all of that information there. If you need to change the address, you can simply go here, edit, change the address to that, and save it. So for next, we're going to review your order. That's simply going to put you in our order shopping cart. What we'll do, I'll sort of break this down for you. It's going to tell you that you're in the Mailings and Letters tab, that we have one PDF file called PDF Capture Sample, that we have 2 people in this file, one that lives in the Fraser Circle, one that lives in Heather Glen. And if you had attached a generic letter with this, it would also give you the name of the generic letter that you had attached. Okay, so over to the right, the name you're mailing. This is a text box that will print on the first line of your return address and appear on your invoice from SouthData. So for this one, if you wanted to put in violation letter, you've got that information there. Just keep in mind, anything that you type in this box will print above the return address on the mailing sheet. So try not to make it anything that you wouldn't want your homeowner to see. We have a couple of different delivery options. We have first class, certified mail with a signature required, certified mail with restricted delivery and signature, or certified mail without a signature. If you choose to send this, if it was a violation and you wanted to send it as a certified letter, as long as the first class and the certified are both checked, we would actually send out 2 copies of the letter. So we would send 1 copy out as a first class mail piece and the second piece out as a certified mail piece. So if you only wanted it to go certified, you would need to uncheck the first class or vice versa. Okay. We have a couple of different package styles with letter mailings. You can have letters with no return envelope. So if you're just sending out a general mailing and you don't need to have an envelope for your homeowner to return anything, you can pick that one. Or we have a standard number 9 double windowed envelope that you can put in. And if you pick the number 9, it actually will change your mailing sheet so that the bottom of the mailing sheet can perf off. And once that's perforated, the return address that you choose and your homeowner address will change positions so that it shows through the window correctly. Okay, since we're in the letter viewer now, I'm going to show you, we'll show you your mailing sheet. It will show you the actual letter that you've uploaded and your envelope. Okay, mailing return envelope address. If you wanted your homeowner to return, say if this was a late payment information and you gave them a return envelope so they can return a payment and you wanted that to go to your lockbox, you can actually come in here, type your lockbox's name and address, and it will change that on the mailing sheet here. Okay, additional options that we have for letter mailings is you can staple your mailing up to 99 pages. Please be aware any item that is stapled will need to go into a flat envelope. The machines here cannot fold and insert stapled documents in a number 10, so it would be, postage would go out on a 9x12, so you would have an increased postage rate with that. We do, when you staple, when you choose stapling, it should tell you that. Okay, you have the option to include a prepaid postage return envelope, and you have the option for a hold for ship. This send me a proof for approval would simply do exactly what it says. It's going to send you a proof of what we received and what we're going to print that you would therein need to improve and then send back for production into SouthData. So, all right, so you've got some options here: cancel your order, edit, save for later, or place order. So what you'll do is you'll just place your order. The system will give you a generated order number. So that is how you're going to track this order through the system, is with that number. anytime that you need to make calls into the customer service line for assistance, you will need to have this number so that they can easily find your order and help you and assist. Okay, so we'll run through the second option just so you can see what that looks like as far as upload your data and letters. You're pretty much going to be seeing basically the same screen. There's just a couple little differences. So for this one, we're going to do the data file. Data files can be submitted in any format. It can be a coupon file if you need it to be CSV, PAN, anything that can generate out of your software. The only thing that we cannot use for a data file is a PDF. So if you had, if your software exports PDF like mailing, label, listing in a PDF format, we couldn't use that. So it will need to be in a CSV, PAN, XLS, something of that nature. So the system, what it'll do is it's going to show you the first 3 records that we pulled out of your data file. And all we're doing is we're asking you to mark the relevant information. So as you can see for this one, I had used a coupon book file. And so it's got, you know, a SDI number, account numbers, things like that, things that are irrelevant to letter mailings. So what you're going to do is you're going to come back through and say, okay, so I need you to look in column C for my name 1, column D for a name 2, if that's, you know, in there. Column E, we're going to leave blank. We're going to use F as your street address. And we're going to use this as your city, state, zip. Now, as you can see from the list, we do have several options depending on how your software exports. So if your city, state, and zip is broken out into separate fields, we do allow for that. If your first and last names are broken out into separate fields, we can handle that as well. So there are, you know, a bevy of options here that you can use for data. So anything that is irrelevant to a mailing address, you're simply just going to leave those columns blank. You're going to hit your process data. And it's going to be the same sort of situation that we had with the PDF. It's going to give you a listing of whom the people that we've brought out of the file. The addresses, you do have the option to edit. On this, with the data, you can actually delete. So if you knew that Peggy Venable was moving from the association, you could delete her out of the file, and that way it won't be sent. Same concept as far as assigning the association. You go here, you're going to update all records. And then here's where you're going to add your letters. So for this option, you will be able to add the letters. So you're going to hit additional letters. Select your PDF. And all you do is just pick a PDF file for a letter. Okay. You can do as many of these as you want. There is no restriction on number of letters. The print options here come to front only, front and back. You do have paper color options with data files. Like you make them pink. It will change it on the screen, and you can make it full color ink. Okay, and then if you want to add another one, we'll add another one just for here. And so you do have same sort of, you get to see the thumbnail of what it's going to look like. Okay. You're going to hit manage your associations once you're finished with your letter upload. Same thing as before, if you need to change the address. You're going to review your order. You're in the same shopping cart with the same options. But here you can see your letter files because that's been added. It's going to tell you that you've got 2 letters. Same certified first class options. Same options for envelope, no envelope. But with this one, you can actually, you'll click on your mailing sheet. You can see your mailing sheet. And you can see exactly what you've got on your letters. Okay, you can close that out. Same option for stapling, hold for ship, and a proof. And then there you've got an order number. So that's going to, that covers your mailings and letters. We'll go through ballots quickly, just because the biggest difference here is, only when you get in the shopping cart for the envelopes. So I'm going to just pop through this one as upload your data and letters. And select data file. Okay, you're going to make sure your mapping is correct. The system is intelligent enough so that if you upload one mailing, if you're exporting from software, odds are your columns are going to export in the same position each time. So once you have it mapped the first time, as long as it follows the same flow, you don't have to map each time. Process this data. Update with an association. Save that. And we're going to add a letter. Just in case you're wondering what this is, the vote by proxy instructions is just a generic letter that's been attached to this account. So if you had a basic welcome letter or a basic payment information letter that you would attach to every letter mailing that you do, you can actually send that to SouthData. We will set it up as a generic letter on your account. And then when you log in, you don't have to have the PDF each time. You can actually just attach this letter. All right, so let me go here. Grab another letter. Okay, so you just get the same options here with the front and back, paper color, ink color. There's absolutely no difference in these screens than it was for the letter mailing. The biggest difference, like I said, is coming here in the shopping cart. So as before, where you only had the option for return envelope or no return envelope, with the ballot package, you have a mailing sheet, your letters, and then you have ballot envelope. So you actually have a couple of packages here. You have a ballot package with a 2-window BRE, which includes the yellow voting envelope and a number 9 mailing return. You have a ballot package that has a double window number 9 return, a secret ballot envelope, and a proxy ballot envelope. So if you're voting, if you have the option to vote by proxy. Because we know that some states require signatures on the outside of the ballot, we have an option that has a single windowed envelope with a return address line that has your homeowner's name, the address of the property, their signature and or account number, depending on what your state requires. And it does say ballot enclosed on the outside, so that when that comes to your office, you can easily sort through that. And so you can see your secret ballot here. All of this is printed on the envelope, so there's no variation on that information. And then you can still see here your pages as far as what you've got in your letters. And then you've got a ballot package with a signature line and a proxy. So like I said, once again, it just does include that extra proxy envelope just in case you need it. Okay. A little difference in the mailing sheet with the ballot package. Before, with letter mailings, it's a plain white sheet. For ballot packages, because we're giving additional envelopes, we do have a little step-by-step on how you return your ballot, and so it's just giving your homeowner the instructions that they could tear along this line, put that into your return envelope, and then you put your ballot inside of that. So it's just giving them a little tutorial on how to return the ballot package. Same options as far as mailing, return address. If you were sending this out to a third party to count the votes, then you would simply key that information here and it would change it on the mailing sheet at the bottom that's going to show through the window. You do have stapling. Like I said, keep in mind stapling automatically puts you in a flat 9x12, so you have increased postage. You've got a prepaid postage for return envelope if you need that, and a hold for ship. And then you can just place your order as well. A thing to point out For any package that you do, once you get your proof, any envelopes that should be attached to your actual letters that should be going to your homeowners will be inside of that proof. So when you scroll through the proof, you should see your mailing sheet, your letters, and your envelopes. If you prepaid postage on those, the metering will show up on the envelope. So that's just always a good sort of thing to know, that if you feel like you picked a letter and it's not in your proof, then something has happened and we didn't pick that letter up, and so you would then need to void your order and resubmit so that we get all of the information and the letters enclosed. If it's not on the proof, it will not be printed and it will not be added. So just sort of keep that in mind. Okay, that wraps up mailings and letters and order ballots. Like always, if you need any assistance, please don't hesitate to call into the customer service line. The numbers are on the screen once you get your order number. If you're on the East Coast, the number for you to call is 1-800-437-8849. If they're here from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. Or if you're on the West Coast, it's 833-459-9401. West Coast employees are from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard.